Hey you guys, we're going to get started in a little bit on our webinar, but we're going to wait a few minutes for some more people to trickle in, so hang tight and we'll get started. Okay, so we've waited a little while. Let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'm Jana, and I'm really excited to share some tips for you to get healthier, especially when it comes to your heart and your weight. Many of you are here today because you have just been thinking, can't someone just tell me how to lose weight and get off my blood pressure and cholesterol meds? And I hear you, and we are going to go over a lot of tips that I have today that are going to help you do that. I also thought this very same thing before I got started down the path that is nutrition. 2 years ago, I felt like I couldn't eat anything without gaining weight or raising my cholesterol. I was afraid to put food in my mouth because I knew that inevitably I would eat something and I would wake up the next morning bloated with indigestion, or I would be a couple pounds heavier. And I was just so afraid of gaining more and more weight. I didn't want this to be my life anymore. And then to make things worse, I went and got a lipid panel and it showed that my cholesterol was rising. So I thought I was trying to eat healthy. I thought I was doing the right thing and I was gaining weight and my cholesterol was rising. So I was super frustrated. And I was in my mid-20s when this started. And I had been told that your metabolism will change as you get older. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, this is quote unquote because I'm getting older and my metabolism is changing. So this is why all of this is happening. But it wasn't like I was living a sedentary lifestyle. I wasn't on the couch eating potato chips, just lying around watching TV all day. I would work out all of the time. I would go run. I would walk. I would hike. I would also go to the gym and do spin classes or weight lift. Like, I was very active. And the most I would ever lose was 5 pounds. And those 5 pounds would come back so quickly. So, I was running like 5 miles a day. How is it possible that you can run like 5 miles a day and only lose 5 pounds? Now, a lot of you might be thinking, geez, how much was this girl eating that she would run 5 miles a day and only lose 5 pounds? Watch the judgment. I actually wasn't eating very much. I was pretty much on the basic girl's diet of eating too little and going out drinking with my friends, which again is not better. But I was like, why is it that I'm not eating that much? I think I'm eating healthy, but nothing is working for me. So I was finally just fed up and decided I needed to make a change, and I went all in on that idea. Like, I took that decision to the bank. I was originally working in online education as a COO, and I decided I'm going to quit my job. I actually don't love this anyway, and I'm going to focus on what I like, and I want that to be nutrition. So that's exactly what I did. I made my career change and I started in on 2 certifications. So my first certification is from AFPA in nutrition and wellness, and the other certification is from eCornell in plant-based nutrition. And I realized this is the path I really want to go down, and so I started my company, Rose and Ginger Nutrition. And from there, I just started putting into practice what I had learned from my courses, and I really didn't have to wait long to see results. I dropped those hated 30 pounds. Yes, I had put on 30 pounds and they just kept packing onto me and I lost all of that. And I didn't go through what most people go through when they're losing weight. I didn't lose the first 12 and then really have to focus and struggle to lose the next 10 pounds and then struggle so hard to make it to the finish line to lose that last 10 pounds. My weight just started falling off of me. And on top of that, my cholesterol plummeted. I'm talking 50 points plummeted. And the best news is that my weight stayed off and I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to diet. I didn't have to do anything. I just started eating the way I wanted to eat and it stayed off. And my cholesterol continued to drop. So my current combined cholesterol is 115 and my blood pressure is 106 over 65. And I was able to achieve those numbers within 3 months of putting into practice what I had learned. So just 3 months. So how many of you would wait to just start falling off of your body and just get healthier naturally? And I know that sounds way too good to be true. I mean, we are supposed to struggle to lose weight, right? Well, not necessarily. When you're eating the proper nutrients, your body can get rid of the bad stuff and heal your body easily. So since all of those changes happened, I started working with clients with similar needs. They had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, and heart disease. And almost all of them were slightly overweight. Not all of them needed to lose 100 pounds, but maybe 30 to 50 pounds. And all of them had the same response when I told them that I would be able to not only lower all of their numbers, but to also help them lose that weight naturally. So yeah, a few of them looked at me like I was crazy because, they've done the quick weight loss stuff. They've gone on Nutrisystems. They've gone on Weight Watchers. They've done Jenny Craig and, nothing worked for them. They've tried all of the fad diets and none of those worked either. So they just looked at me like I had two heads. And then a couple of them were just so desperate to feel better and to not be on their medicine anymore that they were just willing to do anything I said, and they just completely bought into me because they were thinking, you're the last hope that I have, so just help me any way that you can. So I really want to tell y'all about a client that actually just made me want to go all in on heart disease clients, especially those with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. He really made me want to niche down to just do heart disease. So I'm going to call him Ron Swanson. And if you don't know who that is, I'm going to show you a clip of him in a little bit. But Ron Swanson is from Parks and Recreation, and all he does is eat steak and eggs all of the time. And that is exactly who my client was. So here's a short little clip for you to see who Ron Swanson is.
This hotel always serves bacon wrapped shrimp. That's my number one favorite food, wrapped around my number 3 favorite food. Fishing relaxes me. It's like yoga, except I still get to kill something.
Is that bacon on your turkey leg?
They call it a Swanson. Charles Mulligan's Steakhouse. The best damn steakhouse in the damn state. I have taken a picture of every steak I've ever eaten there. June 2004, porterhouse, medium rare, béarnaise sauce. January 2000, they call this one the Enforcer. Ah!
Ron?
What in the devil's name is this?
Portobello mushrooms.
Where's the steak?
Oh, there's no steak. That's a healthier option. It's organically grown.
Go.
Huh? You okay? Whoa. Okay, can you get us a cold comp?
Just give me all the bacon and eggs you have.
Okay, so now that you have that amazing visual, that is exactly who my client was. All about the meat, all about cheese, all about eggs. To make matters worse, I'm based in Texas and he is from Texas. And so, eating meat is kind of that manly badge of honor. So to really get him to turn his diet around, he had to be in dire straits in a way. So when Ron Swanson came to me, and I'm going to refer to him to that, I won't actually say his name, but Ron Swanson is how I will refer to him. When he came to me, he had a cholesterol of 280. He was on blood pressure medicine and he was on 2 statins. And for those of you that don't know what a statin is, it is a fat-lowering drug for your blood. So it helps to decrease the cholesterol in your body. So he was on 2 of those and he still had a cholesterol of 280. That's wild to me. Anyway, his cardiologist told him that if he didn't make a change, that he was looking at having a heart attack within a couple of years. So he called me panicked, afraid, freaking out, any of those emotions in between, you name them, that's how he was feeling. And I knew that I could help him change his health around, but as you've seen from Ron Swanson, I was a little worried he was going to be stubborn and that he wouldn't be able to make this dietary change easily. But I was up for the challenge. I have an older brother. I thought, this can't be that hard. I can do this. And I told him if he did everything I said, he would not only get past this, but he would have a completely different life. So Ron's response is to be expected. It was a little bit of a chuckle and an okay. So I told him, don't panic. When I start to panic, you panic. but let's just get started. And I reversed his entire diet immediately. So I'm happy to say he only called me a few times very skeptical and, shining me on, giving that okay response every once in a while. And I would call him out because I don't do the little shining on moments. But he never starved, and he got into his groove eventually where he figured out recipes he liked, places he could eat, and how to shape his plate. So the first day of reckoning came when he decided to get his first lipid panel done after we had started working together and to see where his numbers were. So I was a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, because I was worried that what if he didn't get the numbers back that he wanted and he thought all of this was stupid and he wouldn't stick with it. Because I knew it could take a few months to really get him where he wanted to be. But I was shocked at how well his body responded. After 2 months of being on the diet that I had recommended for him and him changing his lifestyle, his cholesterol dropped 160 points and his blood pressure dropped 70 points. And that's only in 2 months. So he immediately went to his cardiologist office and he got off of his blood pressure medicine and he got off one of his statins. So Ron was totally all in with me at that point in time. I never heard a complaint after that. And he just kept going. And again, we decided, let's do another lipid panel test. So he did another one about 3 months after we had gotten started. So 1 month after the lipid panel test he had just gotten. And his cholesterol had dropped even more. It had dropped another 30 points. So he went back to his cardiologist and he got off of his last statin. So in 3 months, Ron Swanson went from staring a heart attack in the face and worried about what his life was going to be like to knowing that he was going to live a long and healthy life and he could do what he wanted to. So he picked up cycling. He now cycles through the hill country. He lost 35 pounds. And he's even told me he doesn't miss steak and eggs at all. Or barbecue, or brisket, or ribs, or sausage, or even prime rib. He says it doesn't even appeal to him anymore. So if Ron Swanson can drop the steak and eggs, I know I can help any of my other clients get through anything that they're trying to get through. Now, not all of my clients came to me in the same boat as Ron, but some of them came pretty close. All of them have at least come to me with relatively high cholesterol, but none were as similar to Ron. So through nutrition and light fitness, I've helped all of those clients lower the cholesterol substantially, and that means over 120 points per person, not collectively, and they've all lost an average of 40 pounds. And again, that's per person, not collectively. So I brought this method and information to my family members. I'm happy to report their panels and their blood tests are amazing. I mean, they're all in their 60s and 70s, and all of their lipid panel tests look like 40-year-old tests. So they're loving the idea that their insides are so young. So I'm telling you this almost to exhaustion because I want you to know that my tips work, and I really, really want you to be able to implement them, and I want you to get the most out of them just like my clients and my family members have. So now that I've talked your face off about what my clients have been through, let's get started on my tips that are going to get you the freedom of a life without prescription drugs and healthier and not overweight. So my first tip is to drop the bad foods. There is a difference between good and bad fat. And I know there are some health coaches and doctors and advertising companies, especially advertising companies, that say there are no good and bad foods, but they're completely wrong. And it's time for you to listen to some other professionals. And I use that voice because I'm mocking them. It's not my normal voice. But I'm going to give you a little comparison. And you in your head tell me if you know which one is good or bad. And I know you know which one is good or bad, but sometimes you just need it voiced to you. So let's pretend in your left hand you have a stack of Oreos. And then let's pretend in your right hand you have an apple. So I'm supposed to tell you that those are the exact same for your body and they're both good for you? No, I am not going to tell you that. The apple is obviously the better choice. The difference is the apple is full of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, healthy fiber, and enzymes. And the other doesn't have any real ingredients at all. I'm pretty sure Oreos are just completely chemicals. I don't even know if the chocolate in Oreo is real. So yes, there are good and bad foods, and there are completely different things in foods. Sorry, I know it was a soapbox, but I really want to nail this home to you. So, what is it about the foods that make them good or bad? Well, one of the biggest things, and this is what is contributing to that high cholesterol, is the levels of saturated fat and trans fat. So, what foods have saturated fat and trans fat, and what are saturated fats and trans fats? So, saturated fat and trans fat, they go into your body, and imagine that they're the quote-unquote bad cholesterol. And they can actually drum up some inflammation in your body, which sends white blood cells trying to solve the inflammation. But also this saturated fat, it can break down into plaque and then sit and stick into your blood vessels if you don't have enough good cholesterol to send it back to your liver to break it down. So saturated fat can equal bad cholesterol and high inflammation. So what foods are high in saturated and trans fat? So glad you asked. Fast food, burgers, pizza, French fries, cheese, chips, packaged cookies, ice cream, milk, and packaged frozen foods like Stouffer's lasagna. Please don't say if you just thought that sounds delicious. And then packaged box foods like Kraft mac and cheese. Okay, so foods with these types of fat, again, contribute to higher levels of blood pressure and high cholesterol. When you eat foods high in saturated fat, you make it very difficult for your body to break them down, especially your liver and your kidneys. So you want to eat foods that are healthier. And those are foods that have zero cholesterol and have monounsaturated fats that are from plants. And those are the foods that I want you to indulge in. So you might be thinking, wait, plants have fat. Yes, some of them do. And the ones that I recommend are avocados, beans, peanut butter, and nuts. Let's get back to zero cholesterol foods. Yes, there are zero cholesterol foods, and again, I want to reiterate they're plants. I want you to think broccoli, Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, beans. Those are the foods I want you to indulge in. And those foods are really high in good cholesterol, and it's called HDL cholesterol. And that HDL cholesterol works to break down the LDL cholesterol with the liver so that it doesn't create inflammation in your body and it doesn't create plaque in your blood vessels or your arteries. So, as I said before, beans were really healthy. They are in particular shown by multiple studies to have the most lowering cholesterol factors. Beans have a lot of fiber and a lot of HDL cholesterol in them, and fiber slows down the digestive process, making it easier for your body and that HDL cholesterol to process out the LDL cholesterol. So there are various forms of where you can get your beans, and again, I'm from Texas, and this is so sacrilegious, but chili is a great way. If you're from Texas, you know that beans have no place in chili. That is not a real chili recipe, but for the sake of health, I highly recommend adding beans to that. You can also get it from things like hummus. Hummus is made from chickpeas, or also they're called garbanzo beans. And then you can add them to things like black beans can be added to Mexican dishes, and then roasted chickpeas can be added to salads in place of croutons instead of that white processed bread. And you can make roasted chickpeas by just setting your oven to 425, putting out chickpeas on a parchment-lined cookie sheet, and then baking them for about 20 minutes, and then throw them in a salad, and they're crunchy and delicious. Okay, so my next tip is to rethink your plate, specifically your portions. And a lot of this comes down to how many animal products are supposed to be on your plate. And when you think animal products, I want you to think meat, dairy, eggs, and fish. A lot of people think that fish doesn't count as an animal product, but it does. So there's a lot of saturated fat in beef and chicken and not a whole lot of nutrients. So I said chicken, and I know a lot of you who go on diets think, but no, chicken is one of the good options. It's one of the good things that I'm picking, but it's actually not. Chicken is the second highest in saturated fat after beef, so it's not doing you as much good as you might think it is. Another food that I really try to get people to stay away from is bacon. I know everyone loves bacon, but it's one of the worst foods that you can eat. And if you're still with me now, thank you. I very much appreciate it because most people don't like hearing that I don't want them to eat bacon. And the last thing is eggs. Eggs are pretty much just an entire ball of cholesterol, even the egg whites. So if you can stay away from eggs, you're sitting pretty. Okay, so I mentioned I want you to rethink your plate. And that's exactly what I want you to do. Right now, most of you will do half of your plate as meat, a quarter of it is grains, and or maybe even a quarter of vegetables, maybe not even that. Maybe it's just meat and grains right now. I want you to transform that to half of your plate is fruits and vegetables, a quarter of your plate is grains, and a quarter of your plate is protein. And when I say grains, I mean quinoa, I mean brown rice, I mean lentil pastas, even oats like oatmeal, that's a great option. And then when I say protein, I am not only talking about animals. I am talking about beans, I'm talking about lentils, I'm talking about legumes, and I'm talking about tofu. Some of you just said, ew, I understand. It takes some time to get used to that. And then if you are going to eat an animal product, I would like it to be fish and not chicken, pork, beef, any of that. I would like it to be fish. Stick with salmon, trout, and halibut. Now, something I forgot to mention when I talked about grains is you can also have bread, but not white Wonder processed bread. If you're under the age of 25, you probably don't know what Wonder bread is. Hopefully you're over 25 and you got that reference. But I want you to have Dave's Killer Bread, which is a whole sprouted wheat bread, or Ezekiel bread, which is, again, whole sprouted wheat bread. And that's really high in fiber, and it's really good for you. And it's back to the basics of what bread used to be with all of the good nutrients into it. Okay, so all of that stuff is great for you. But when we talked about protein, you might be thinking there's no way that little quarter of my plate is going to be enough protein. I need a lot of protein. And, the media's done a great job of telling you that you're not eating enough protein every day and you need like half of your body weight or like 3 times your body weight in protein. But none of that's actually true. For women, you need a maximum of 43 grams of protein a day. And if you are a man, you need a maximum of 65 grams of protein a day. So it's okay if your plate is actually a quarter of protein. And it's even okay if you only get like 20 grams of protein in a day, because unless you are a crazy bodybuilder, you don't need that much. And I promise you, you don't have a protein deficiency. And when you are looking at sizes for, say, fish on your plate, I would only recommend 3 ounces. You really don't need that much. Okay, so that's how I want your plate to look. Now, my next tip is one that, again, seems like common sense. You've heard this all the time, but you probably don't really understand why putting it into a practice makes any difference. But it's drinking plenty of water. Again, very common, and you probably are constantly nagged by people that are saying, like, are you hydrated enough? I mean, there's even a Seinfeld stand-up bit that's like, oh no, if you're dehydrated, there's no going back. You can never get hydrated again. But dehydration causes a lot of strain on your heart, and the amount of blood circulating through your body or blood volume decreases when you're dehydrated. So to compensate, your heart beats faster and it increases your heart rate, and it causes you to even potentially have heart palpitations. And that's in like a heat stroke scenario. But your blood retains more sodium, and that makes it harder for your blood to circulate through your body. But a hydrated heart is able to pump blood more easily, allowing the muscles in your body to work even better. So if you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol and even heart disease, then imagine what a disservice you're doing to your heart if you have to make it work even harder because there's not enough water in your body. So drink more water. But you might be thinking, well, how much water is enough water to drink throughout the day? Are we talking gallons upon gallons? Like I heard about that kid who drank too much water and he drowned his insides. What is too much? The right amount that I recommend is 70 ounces or more of water per day. Again, that's going to change seasonally, and that's going to change with how much you work out. But typically, it's about 70 ounces of water per day, and I drink about 90 ounces of water per day. And then if I do a really heavy workout, I can go up to about 115 ounces. But take a reusable water bottle with you everywhere and make a conscious effort to drink it. I hear a lot of people say, but I'm not thirsty. That's okay. Drink water anyway. Just make it a habit. And then the one day that you do forget your water bottle, you're going to look back and realize, oh my gosh, I'm dehydrated and I am so thirsty. So you'll see a huge change. It's going to help your complexion quite a bit. And then also drinking water can help with some weight loss. Okay, my last tip for all of you today is to start walking. And now I'm not meaning start an exercise program. I really do mean start walking in particular. So exercise has been shown to lower your blood pressure, decrease the bad cholesterol, that LDL cholesterol, and to increase HDL cholesterol. but walking specifically has been shown to be one of the best exercises for your heart health. Walking will lower your blood pressure even more, and it can help increase your energy levels, and it'll also help lower weight, which makes sense, more movement, less weight. It's also one of the best exercises for your brain. So I don't know if you knew this, but walking increases creativity in your brain. It increases your mood, and it sparks connections between your brain cells. And a Harvard study found that walking increased creativity by 60% as opposed to those just sitting around trying to be quote unquote inspired. So I often find myself exhausted from writing blogs and my new online course, researching and recording my podcast, and helping clients. So walking is one of the best ways to rejuvenate the brain and get the blood pumping again. Sometimes just taking a 10-minute walking break, it makes a huge difference. You can pace maybe, even you're in an office and you're on the phone, just pace while you're talking. You'll realize you may have way better ideas that are coming to you. And then sometimes you might have a very progressive office that wants to do walking meetings. I have actually not met any offices that are willing to do that, but some of them out there might, and maybe you can do a walking meeting. But there's irrefutable evidence in the role physical activity plays in the prevention of heart disease. Research has suggested that walking an hour a day for 5 days a week, or the equivalent of burning 1,000 calories a week, is sufficient. However, you could extend that to 7 days a week, and that'll only make your odds for a healthier life even better. So add walking to your daily routine, make it part of your schedule, and you're going to see a big, big difference. And I'm not talking going on a leisurely stroll when you go out for a walk. Like, this isn't like a parasol with your best friend kind of moment. I'm talking about a moderate pace, meaning you can talk, but if you tried to sing, you wouldn't be able to sing at the pace that you are. You would be completely out of breath. So the next time you go walking with a buddy or your spouse or the neighbor, break out in your favorite song, and if you are busting a move with that one, then you need to pick up your pace, and hopefully you have good friends that understand what's going on with you, because they're just going to look at you like you're weird. So not exercising can shorten your life 3 to 5 years, but doing daily exercise can add up to 1 to 2 years back onto your life. So it really is a big deal to make sure you're getting enough exercise. So I hope these tips helped all of you, and I really want to give you all of my extensive advice and knowledge about how to lower your blood pressure, cholesterol, and weight for good. And I know these tips work because they've worked for me and they've worked for all of my clients. And even people who just get started on my tips, they just see a huge difference. And if you want more information just like this, I have created an online course called Heal Your Heart, and I give you the exact blueprint to a healthier lifestyle. And I mean the exact information on how to reduce your blood pressure, cholesterol, and lower your weight. There is no filler content, only what you need to know to be successful, nothing that will waste your time, just straight to the point information and guidance. And I even include an entire meal plan at the end of my course to teach you how to start your diet immediately. And that's one of the biggest struggles for people is they read all this information and they go, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. I don't know how to get started. I've never done this lifestyle before. And I understand that. And so I want all of the guessing work to be completely gone for you. And you can learn everything from my course and then immediately put into action what you've learned right away. All you have to do is go to the grocery store. So from here, it's up to you to get started. And the easy part is that you can now enroll in my course. And because you're listening to this webinar, I'm going to give you 25% off my Heal Your Heart course, and that's $100 value. And you're only going to have this bonus for 24 hours after the close of this webinar, and I really don't want you to miss out. So if you're thinking about this or you've been struggling and you just don't know where to get started, I promise you you're going to see results, and I want you to save some money and also get healthier. So when I learn more information, or if there is a new study that comes out about healing heart disease, I will update the course and you will always have access to it. Even if you finish it, if there's something new, you're going to get an email and you're going to be able to go back and look through all the information that I've added to it. So again, if you want to get healthier and maybe hiring a nutritionist or a nutritional consultant isn't for you, you don't like meeting with people, you're sick of doctors, you're sick of professionals, then check out my online course. You get all of the knowledge I pass on to my clients, even healthy recipes without ever having to hire anyone. So if you've tried tons of different diets and prescriptions and nothing has worked, then please try my online course and get the relief that you're looking for. Thank you so much for coming to my webinar. I know that it took time out of your really busy day, and all of your time is precious and really important, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sitting here and listening to me talk on and on about how to change your health. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them right now.